The Kiss is the fourth episode of the first season of Good Advice. This is directed by Barnet Kellman, and as always, there will be spoilers from now as I talk about what happens in this episode and share some thoughts. And when I read the brief description for this on IMDb before I watched the episode, I kind of thought, I don't want this. I don't want this to be what it seems like it's going to be about. But actually, it wasn't that at all. So I'm really relieved, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it. It starts off with Susan trying to get a check from one of her clients, and then we find out that Michael is spending the night at his father's house with Vicky, his father's friend Vicky. And of course the implication there is that it's his father's new girlfriend, or at least a woman he's spending time with. And Susan, to her credit, tried not to make a big deal out of it, but we learn pretty quickly that she's not doing very well because it's the first time she's been alone. And she's not really sure what to do with herself. She talks to Ronnie, trying to get Ronnie to spend time with her. Everybody in the office seems to have plans. And she ends up spending the night almost completely alone in the office. Juanita, the cleaning lady, comes along. I thought she was brilliant. I hope we get to see more of her. I don't know if we will, or if we would have need to, because presumably Susan won't be in the office at that time of night that frequently. But I liked the character. I liked what she brought to it. She's played by Liz Torres, and then a character called Robin comes along. It's getting quite late now, and Robin is actually supposed to be meeting Jack for a date. We, the viewer, know that Jack is currently on a date with a woman called Laura. He's meant to then meet Robin. Susan very nearly gives the game away, but she manages to recover, and she has a conversation with Robin. Robin is played by the wonderful Lisa Edelstein. And then, for some reason, Robin begins to think that Susan is sleeping with Jack, and Robin storms out, and then Jack comes up, and before Robin can leave, she slaps Jack, which is a bit harsh, because he technically isn't sleeping with Susan, but I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it. But at the same time, does he deserve it? If he wasn't exclusive with Robin, there's no reason why he can't date more than one person, though I do think back-to-back dates are maybe not that good of an idea. And then we just have Jack and Susan alone. And this is the bit where I was nervous. I was nervous where things were going to go because of what IMDb suggested. I don't always read the IMDb descriptions, but I did pull up the listing to look at the cast. And it suggested something that I wasn't looking forward to. But thankfully, that's not how things played out. Jack suggests that Susan spends the night at his place so she's not completely alone, and Susan's not a fan of this idea. And then we immediately cut to the following morning. We're still in Susan's office, but Jack is on the couch and Susan is sleeping in his lap. And we learn pretty quickly once Susan wakes up that nothing actually happened between them, and I was so relieved. But then I was thinking, well, where's the kiss coming into this? And Susan continued to be a little bit awkward about the situation. And also, it's worth pointing out that at the beginning of the episode, Michael promised her that he would phone her when he arrived at his father's. He would phone her before bed, and he would phone her in the morning. But Susan's not at home. Does that mean she's missed phone calls from her son the first night that he's spending time at his father's? That's not great. I don't love that. It's a bit of an oversight. But nevertheless, that's what's happened. And Susan's not feeling great about the fact she woke up on Jack's lap, even though nothing did happen. And Jack decides to give her something to feel guilty about, and he kisses her. There we have the kiss. It was so brief. It was a couple of seconds. And once Jack left the room, Susan just dropped her body down to the floor. And I'm really glad that that's how it played out, because I was so concerned that they were going to start a relationship. And I don't want that, because I don't want that for Susan. First of all, she is just out of a marriage and a difficult situation. I don't want her to jump into a relationship so quickly, but also I feel like it's so predictable that she'd end up with Jack, and I don't want that. I do think it would be nice to have different situations with Jack so we could find out more about the character in situations where he might let his guard down a little bit more. But I feel like it's too obvious. But I also think that it's probably going to happen at some point. If not in this season, then maybe in the next season. And I don't want it, but if it does happen, I will go into it with an open mind. So we'll see what happens there. But this episode was not what I expected. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I did enjoy it, and I was relieved that it wasn't going in the direction I had feared it would. So, all things considered, The Kiss is a pretty good episode of good advice. I have no idea what to expect from the rest of this first season. Definitely no idea what to expect from the second season. But I'm looking forward to finding out. Shelley Long is fabulous. I absolutely love her. But even though I am biased, I think the show is going pretty well. And The Kiss was definitely significantly better than I thought it was going to be.